There's what must be said for this moment in time, mid-March 2021 to the first week of April 2021. Once again, for those that might not have time to watch this whole program and hear bits of the bigger body of knowledge you might know tons more of, and knew it from many years ago, here's the overview. There are a few historical facts and a few recommendations that at this time it would be helpful to know and be stated in the clear in the name of peace. Originally, a main impetus for this movie was the attack on an Asian woman reportedly over 60 years old near Times Square, New York, in broad daylight last Monday, March 29th thereabout. The attack was senseless and not taking anyone anywhere, not getting anyone anywhere. In the movie, I'm going to explain some of the reasons why that is. It may be that suspects in some of these cases might have psychological shortcomings. Nevertheless, it needs to be reiterated what is right and what is wrong, so that, for instance, those that are not psychologically impaired do not digress into the wrong directions. In the process of readying the information for this film, ensuring that it is correct entails some research. Between the start of the research, as in right after the hearing of the news of the assault incident in Times Square, and today, Monday, April 5th, 2021, there was an advent. One that we wish did not occur. Advent or advents, depending on how you say it. No affront whatsoever intended. Both officers are honored. At the Capitol on Friday in Washington, Officer Evans made the ultimate sacrifice. In the last week of March 2021, Officer Walker gave the ultimate sacrifice in Mejia, Texas. These events have occurred in a timeline following a third officer in Tally in Boulder, Colorado, after sacrificing to save others in a shopping mall. The event in Boulder occurred about the 22nd of March 2021, around a week before the Times Square incident. And the Boulder incident happened about a day or so past a week after the shooting spree in Atlanta, March the 16th, that claimed the lives of a number of Asian women, as well as a military veteran. Not to bog you down with details as to the dates, but just so that you can see how close they are to one another. The picture is now larger. The event in Times Square is not pushed back further in the movie. There is progress that has to be made. Here are a few points I put before the audience. Funerals for individuals of stature, sirens of the police cars, extensive media coverage of a tragedy, first responders' reactions to an unraveling event can be something that can captivate impressionable individuals, especially when they're on the borderline of being psychologically unsound. On the obverse, mental imagery of drama might not be as consuming to someone that is psychologically sound and very healthy. It may be that going forward on a comparatively broader level, that the current law enforcement vehicles be bulletproof enabled, body cameras, body armor, all of those on a much higher increase. It's just an outlook for the future as something possible. At some point in the chronology of the future, vulnerabilities of these strategies might become manipulated by persons with criminal intent. But for now, a huge increase might reduce the frequency of incidents of law enforcement becoming the victim. So basically, criminals have figured out how to manipulate the firearm after the weapon of choice moved from the bobby stick. Criminals have figured out how to manipulate cars, police cars, when long ago law enforcement might have been riding around on horseback. Since January of 2021, vehicular assault has been one of the leading causes of police fatality. COVID-19 being a leading cause of fatality has been up there as well. In the cases of vehicular assault, it has been noticed that most, if not all, the victims that I've found out about have been male and were excelling in their careers. Hate to say it, but it is better that it be made known, and it might be that higher statures in the community are the wished by those that target them for the rougher types of incidents to evolve. In the movie, it will be explained some of the psychological threads that might lie behind someone with criminal intent to engage in the type of acts they do. As for the attack on the Asian woman in Times Square, there is no place for it here in America. It is not the place of men to do these sorts of things, and the rationale that might have gotten into individuals' minds that they claim spurred them on to doing them really do not have a logical existence. Expounding why a man believing committing a hate crime against a woman has any justification will be further expounded on. These events occurred not too far from Vietnam Veterans Day. At first, this movie was going to cover several main topics: the Times Square incident, Vietnam Veterans Day, and what the distinguished military veteran and Townsend Hoops, who had in his career assistant to the Secretary of Defense in the late 1940s, early 1950s, already said about diplomatic relations with the Asian nations. Referenced the recent meeting between the U.S. and China in Alaska that got started around the 18th of March 2021. Portions of the book, The Limits of Intervention, will be hit on in the movie. Because of the magnitude of events that have occurred over the past week, content about the Vietnam Veterans Day will be limited to that they are mentioned here, and possibly develop a fuller movie in the near future that focuses on that topic. Lastly, for this program, there is an aspect of what happened in Boulder, Colorado within recent weeks that rings very strong bells to tragic events in the past few decades. Are events connected or not connected? I choose not to try to conjecture or theorize. However, there will be a few things discussed about community building and how communities fall apart. Stories, from what I remember, about how when first dollars were set down for the construction or purchase or start of what seemingly was a place of worship solely for that purpose and a place for peaceful congregation and peaceful towns. Later tragedies evolved that scarred on a much larger level. Those stories may be briefly told.